So often do most couples have sex? Frequency. People ask me all the time what's normal in regarding frequency in their sex life. This is my answer. Don't ask what's normal in general. Ask rather what is your normal. Asking how often married couples have sex can be a dangerous question because the answer is what works for that couple in that season of their marriage, and it may be very different from the two of you in the season that you're in your marriage. Normal really is a moving target. You can define your normal for today, and that may change in 5 years. So when you begin to talk about frequency, don't start with what is a normal sex life. Start with defining what is your normal. That is really the only thing that matters. Comparison, well, it really can get us in trouble here. Every couple is unique, and therefore what works for them as far as frequency is unique to them in their lives together. So let's define your normal. Marriages are different, lives are different, sex drives are different, and schedules are different. You want to take all that in consideration when you're deciding your normal. What's realistic? If you have sex once a week, twice a week, every day, twice a month, once a month, does that work for both of you? When we fight over frequency, our focus shifts and we are no longer embracing the gift of sex in marriage. Certainly not as God intended. Your sex life will never be great until you quit arguing over frequency. But don't miss this point. Frequency is not the issue. The issue is how you handle together the frequency issue. As you talk about it, the goal is not to convince your spouse to see things your way. The goal is to really listen to each other and find a middle ground, a balance that works for each one of you. Remember, you're not setting your normal for the rest of your marriage, only for where you are today. In my experience working with couples, having an agreed upon frequency expectation really helps your sex life. Neither of you wants to be rejected, but oftentimes the spouse with a higher sex drive can feel rejected a lot. And this starts this negative cycle that can really damage the sex life in your marriage. So if you have an agreed upon expectation about frequency, it's much less likely that the spouse with a higher sex drive will get rejected. For example, if I want to have sex 5 times a week and Nancy wants to have sex 2 times a week, but we don't have an agreed upon frequency, I might ask for sex every day. And that would frustrate Nancy, and I would end up getting rejected, feeling rejected a lot. I'd likely maybe even quit asking after getting denied a couple times in a row, and then would be in a slump where sex is non-existent. Instead, let's say that we agreed on having sex 2 to 3 times a week. We talked about it, heard each other out, worked to meet each other's needs, and met in the middle. Now, I know the frequency is going to be around 2 to 3 times a week. I'm not going to ask for sex every day. I know sex every day, for now, is off the table. Instead, I'll initiate a reasonable amount of times in a week based on our sex conversations and what we've agreed to. Nancy won't have to say no too often because I'm not asking too much. Both of our needs are being met and we both feel respected. We both know what to expect. We can still be spontaneous sometimes and have extra sex when the week is right. The best part, we're connecting by sex 2 to 3 times a week, and our connection deepens as our sex life gets better and better. Stick with the frequency conversation until you reach a solution that works for both of you. Be willing to compromise, and once you agree, try it for a month, and then talk about it again. If it's working for you, is it working for you? And if not, what does need to change? Think about it this way. If you're not fighting over frequency, what could that do for your sex life?